Coming up tonight, the authorities say strengthening both houses of parliament is paramount to the overall democracy. But just how will they do it remains to be seen. Plus, it's summer and it's scorcher out there, which usually means bad weather. Is our power company ready for the bad weather? And the name of the show is Fashionista: Lights, Cameras, Action. Our Jane Joseph has all you need to know in our arts and entertainment segment. Straight ahead as our news weekend starts now. Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. Strengthening both houses of parliament is paramount to the overall democracy in the country. But how does one do that? Our Sasha Lightburn sat down with the leaders of both houses and put that very question to them. She files this report.
I would like to see the Parliamentary Service Act come to fruition. And with that being said, that would give us the autonomy to act and conduct ourselves as a real live-based parliament.
House Speaker Patricia DeVoe had that high on her list when it comes to strengthening Parliament, which consists of the House of Assembly and the Senate.
I would like to see us located on the top of Parliament Street, where we would put a beautiful edifice that would now house both branches of government, which would be the Parliament and the Senate.
And as for Senate President Lachelle Adderley, strengthening Parliament will involve sitting outside of New Providence.
It would be remarkable if the Senate, as a body, can sit outside of Nassau. We would love to sit in the second city of our country, which is Freeport, Grand Bahama.
She also thinks empowering young people and getting them more involved in the parliamentary process is key.
I would also like to see a child Senate where we bring 6th and 7th graders and they come in and debate at this critical time in our nation history, how do you want to see your Bahamas in the next 50 years? I would continue to strengthen the Parliament by ruling in an impartial and a neutral and a fair manner. And going back to the point of youth Senate, I would like to see us establish a body where we have a permanent youth parliament where they meet and they debate various issues in the country. And by youth parliament, I mean where we would have a youth House of Assembly as well as a youth Senate.
Adderley also wants both houses to be more accessible.
A parliament gallery that's friendly for the disabled, that's friendly for the elderly. A parliament where that is a Senate, I should say, that is more known. And that's why you've seen us engaged in more outreach programs where we actually go out into community and we make a contribution because the Senate considers the entire Bahamas as our constituents.
Now, both of them want to see technology incorporated as well.
If you look behind us, you see all of the notes, all of the history of the Parliament. I would love to see that digitalized.
There is also a great need for us to have a more enhanced and a better online process with respect to the having a presence so that people can, at a click of a website, they know who their senators are, their pictures, their bios. There's live streaming of the Senate. They know which bills are coming up, which bills are in the committee stage, and also the bills are also amended online in real time.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Sasha Lightburn.
Opposition leader Michael Pintard is sounding off on the back and forth between government and the Grand Bahama Port Authority regarding the responsibility of the projects. Our Joshua Williams has the details.
In his budget wrap-up communication, Prime Minister Philip Davis asserted that government has been doing the work of the Port Authority. This prompted a response from the port saying that certain projects such as the Grand Lucayan and Airport, amongst others, are the government's responsibility. Leader of the opposition Michael Pintard says the back and forth between the PM and port is not beneficial.
Well, the Prime Minister has entered into a row in a manner that does not help the people of Grand Bahama, and it does not help the people of Freeport. Both the port and central government bear responsibility for the state of affairs in Grand Bahama in general, in Freeport in particular. So the government is seeking to use the port as an excuse for its own failures.
Pintard says since coming to power, the new day administration has done nothing to benefit Grand Bahama.
This is the same government that's been in power over the course of the last 7 elections, they've been in power no less than 3 times. And we have to ask the question, what have they done in West Grand Bahama that they completely control, in East Grand Bahama that they completely control, and in a number of our family islands, which they've had control over. So they cannot come in and pretend or seek to convince the Bahamian people that they have some absolutely brilliant idea that they have not had in the past about how to transform the lives in Grand Bahama.
While Pintard is holding government's feet to the fire, he also puts blame on the port for its shortcomings and failure to complete projects.
The port, however, has its own share of responsibility that we believe, as people who live in Grand Bahama, I'm a member of Parliament in Grand Bahama, and we know that they have not fulfilled their obligation to the people of Grand Bahama in general, but Freeport in particular. There has to be a reconfiguration in our minds of the ownership of all of those assets that presently are being held by a select group of persons.
Pintard offers this solution.
We need to be at the table having sensible conversations about how to repair the economy. Not the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government firing letters and insults at each other. We need to be at the table. And what a prime minister who has the wherewithal would do would be to bring all of the stakeholders, licensees, GBPA, central and municipal government, and the industrials on the island, bring us all to the table to have a conversation about the way forward.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Joshua Williams.
The actions of Immigration Minister Keith Bell has caused widespread discussion and hysteria in the political world. The Free National Movement holding protests after a viral audio clip circulated with the Immigration Minister granting citizenship to 3 during a funeral service. Consultant in the Ministry of National Security, Rodney Monker, attended one of these gatherings and gave his views on the matter, saying Bell did nothing wrong.
No, it is an unusual practice. The Prime Minister has acknowledged that, and he has invited the Minister of Immigration not to do that again. What is important here is it is not unlawful. So his actions were unusual, but not unlawful.
Monker says focus should be placed on discrimination against Haitian nationals instead. He says the process for applying for citizenship in the country is something that should have been addressed a long time ago.
We have discriminated against Caribbean people. We have discriminated principally against people of Haitian ancestry. There are thousands of young people who are born in this country who has applied for citizenship, and the process under both the PLP and the Free National Movement has been very, very long. So it has to be addressed.
PAHO and the World Health Organization hosting a vaccine promotion and EPI nurses thank you lunch Friday to celebrate those nurses who are doing their best to promote immunizations, which have seen a drastic decline. PAHO and the WHO representative to the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos, Dr. Eldana Bassan, says the program and the nurses are very important.
These are the people who make sure, or they try their utmost best to make sure that the population has the vaccines that they need to protect the children and the rest of the population from serious diseases that can be prevented by vaccines.
In recent years, the nurses of the expanded program on immunization have been working to boost vaccinations, which saw a fall-off during the global pandemic. Meanwhile, Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Philip Swan says it's important to highlight those individuals.
Recognition for our nurses who have involved in our expanded program on immunization is crucial for us to just recognize them, to give them the thanks and encourage them of the work they have done over the past 30 years, but now in this case, particular case, this recent last 3-4 years, as we were trying to combat the COVID-19 pandemic.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, we are smack into the hurricane season. The question is this: is our power company ready for the season? And on the subject of the power company, opposition leader Michael Pintard has his say on BPL load shedding. The details when Our News Weekend returns.
At Doctors Hospital, our lamp just got brighter. The Loyalty Advantage membership program now has 3 unique plans to choose from. From LAMP Prepaid with free prime care visits and service line discounts, LAMP Insured with copay waivers and zero upfront collections at the ER and inpatient services, or our new LAMP Access, a free plan that offers 10% off labs, pharmacy, and imaging. LAMP has a plan for everyone. To sign up, visit our website or give us a call. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now.
Hurricane prep is underway at Bahamas Power and Light. The company's chief operating officer is giving some tips and providing an update on the power giant's preparation process. As we move more into the hurricane season, Bahamas Power and Light has been preparing since the beginning of the year. BPL Chief Operating Officer Tony Seymour explains that it starts with ensuring there's sufficient inventory stored.
We make sure that all of our equipment is in good working order. We secure our plants as best as possible from we clear up any loose debris that may become projectiles. On the transmission and distribution side, we have an aggressive tree trimming schedule. So you would see our guys along the roads clearing the overhead lines. We ensure that our substations are prepped and secured ahead of any incoming storm. And then we also make sure that we send out sufficient inventory to the Family Islands.
The last major hurricane to hit the Bahamas was Hurricane Dorian back in 2019. This weather system nearly decimated parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama. In January 2021, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis said it would cost $90 million to restore power to Abaco. While power has since been restored, Seymour says in the case of a storm, residents should protect themselves.
If you notice that you're experiencing fluctuating voltage or surges in your home, because what may affect your home immediately, if the storm is, over your area, we may not be able to tell at system control or at the plant. So you would notice if your lights start to blink or your fan speeds up and slows down. It would be in your best interest to disconnect from the grid, open your main breaker switch, and secure your appliances as best as you can.
Once a hurricane is approaching, BPL's policy mandates that generating stations are shut down when wind speeds exceed 40 miles per hour. Once the storm is passed,
we go out and we do damage assessments at the plants to make sure that the engines are in good working order and running condition. We check all of our primary substations, our transmission lines, and then we branch out to the distribution lines, so the feeders. So our primary restoration feeders are always the hospital and the airport first. And then after that, we move into different communities and restore as required.
If a storm is passing, residents are advised to remain indoors. But that doesn't stop curious Bahamians from exploring during the eye of the storm. Seymour says residents should stay away from downed power lines and poles.
Even if the power is off to your house or the power is off in your area, there is no way to tell if a down power line has electricity running through it or not. And finding out can be fatal. So lines in water, poles down.
Meantime, Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Sears is asking residents to conserve this hurricane season. His comments come days after Bahamas Power and Light started a load-shedding exercise last weekend. When asked his advice to residents, Sears says this.
We are asking all of our compatriots to conserve, to prepare, and to look out for each other. And we are very aggressively carrying out projects of flood mitigation, the blowing of wells, the drilling and redrilling of wells, putting down swales, putting down retention ponds.
The Bahamas hasn't seen a major hurricane since Dorian slammed parts of Abaco and Grand Bahama in 2019. BPL officials say the corporation has already started preparing in the event a hurricane comes our way. Meanwhile, Sarah says BPL is also looking to incorporate new technology and build capacity.
Such as the WAPRO valve in some of the wells, so to keep down the king tide from coming up and allow the flood water to go down, as well as we've ordered what they call a tiger dam, so that we can have a little more flexibility in terms of building retention areas that can be repurposed at a different time.
And the leader of the Free National Movement is hitting back at the Works Minister's claims on the possibility of load shedding this summer. Sears claims that while demand has never exceeded 260 megawatts, the load could reach up to 273 megawatts this summer. Pintart says they're not buying it.
They refuse to unveil a broad, comprehensive plan on how they're going to fix the physical infrastructure with respect to BPL, how they're going to retire the legacy debt, that is the millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars owed by BPL. They have not come up with a plan on how they are going to fix the human resources issue. In fact, since they came to office, they have dramatically increased the staffing. Some say up to 100 additional staff has been added to the budget.
Pintart says a plan was left in place, one the New Day government ought to follow.
We are concerned that the government has refused to take the advice left on the book. A comprehensive plan was left in place. That is the plan this administration should be following. They should be talking with the workers and the union at BPL in terms of getting recommendations on the way forward. This administration are making decisions to help them politically, but they're not making decisions that govern this country properly.
Coming up right after the break, the Star-Spangled Banner met the Black Aquamarine and Golds last night. And guess where? On a warship. Stay close for the details. And speaking of ship, it's time to jump back on the immunization ship. Get your children immunized against polio. This is our news weekend. Welcome back. Friendship and the future were the focuses of last night's To 50 and Beyond party aboard the USS Wasp. Hosted by the U.S. Embassy, the party was an early independence celebration that brought live music, a flyover, and even fireworks. Our Marlena Leonard was there. She brings this report.
The USS Wasp left Nassau Harbor this morning, but not before hosting some early independence celebrations with the U.S. Embassy for the To 50 and Beyond party, highlighting our Golden Jubilee and the 50 years of friendship between the United States and the Bahamas. Captain of the USS Wasp, Nakia Cooper, shared a bit of history with guests.
This is not the first time the USS Wasp has sailed into the Bahamas waters. Our Wasp is the 10th to carry its name, but the first Wasp, a merchant schooner named Scorpion, renamed Wasp, sailed into Nassau in 1776 alongside the USS Hornet. It was the first in fleet operations away from the continental United States for the Navy under the Second Continental Congress and the first in amphibious landing. Today we are proud to carry on Wasp legacy.
We enjoyed live music from the Rhode Island National Guard 88th Army Band and our very own Royal Bahamas Defense Force Band. We even got a flyover from the 23rd Fighter Group of the U.S. Air Force. Prime Minister Philip Davis spoke of the enduring friendship between the two nations.
This year holds a special significance for both the Bahamas and the United States. While the Bahamas celebrates the 50 years of independence, we are equally proud to commemorate 50 years of diplomatic relations with the United States. This milestone is a testament to the enduring friendship and partnership that has flourished between our two nations.
And even though we have almost 200 years between gaining our independence, U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Usha Pitt shared our similarities.
Now, Americans declared we the people in 1776, and the Bahamas did the same in 1973. We're separated by nearly 200 years, but Bahamians, you like us, gave power to the people. You, like us, gave everyone the right to say whatever they want, no matter how idiotic. You, like us, wanted all children within your shores to sleep soundly at night and dream of a bright future.
Governor General Cornelius Smith also in attendance.
Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to join me in a toast to the enduring friendship between our two countries, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the United States of America to enduring friendship.
Of course, it wouldn't have been America's birthday party without a cake cutting. We also got to catch up with Lieutenant Trey Adderley, a sailor of Bahamian descent aboard the Wasp.
My time in Nassau was great. As I said before, I was looking forward to seeing family and indulging in the culture and eating some great food. So I really enjoyed hanging out with my family, and the food, of course, is amazing. I had my good old conch salad, and I was very excited about that.
Music continued into the night, rounded off by a spectacular fireworks display. Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Our PAHO and World Health Organization representative, Dr. Eldana Bosan, did not mince words yesterday when she spoke to reporters about the impacts falling behind on childhood vaccination has on the Bahamas. She said one of the biggest concerns is the potential return of polio to our shores.
The Bahamas is at risk of reintroduction of polio and other diseases right now because the vaccination rates have gone way down below 95%. And until we get them back up to 95%, we are at risk.
And Basan says the patriotic and celebratory energy of our upcoming Golden Jubilee of Bahamian Independence is a perfect motivator to get yourself and your children protected, telling Bahamians it's time to do this for the country.
We want to encourage people and remind them, and this is the 50th anniversary of independence. Do this for the country. Let's make this a target to get back up to that 95% coverage, which gives herd immunity and protects the whole country from these very severe diseases.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, the weather report is on the way, and you're just in time for our arts and entertainment segment. It's all about Fashionista and Ode to Yesterday. All of that is coming up right after this break. Stay close. Welcome back to Our News Weekend. We had a lot of rain today, which hampered someone's shopping, I'm sure. Let's take a look at the weather forecast over the next few days. Lawrence Carroll is one of the original dancers featured in the first independence celebrations, and he is continuing that legacy with his dance academy. This year, they recreate the show titled Fashionista, an Ode to Yesterday. Join our Jean Joseph to find out more.
The Lawrence Carroll Dance Academy is in its 13th season. Founder Yorick Lawrence Carroll says they are in high gear to deliver a stunning performance at 7 p.m. tomorrow, July 2nd, at the University of the Bahamas Performing Arts Center. Carroll says the show is a reproduction of an iconic show that drew rave reviews around the island.
This is my 13th year, so that's why the show is called Season 13, and I'm reproducing the show called Fashionista. You'll see a lot of Broadway numbers, new numbers, new music, old music, Broadway. I love Broadway a lot. So each group will do something different, and it's going to be maximum 2 hours of just pure entertainment.
The Academy has adult students and some as young as 4 years old, and the goal is to give students a solid foundation in dance and the tools to become professionals if they desire. 16-year-old dancer Kaylee Roll says the team has spent a lot of time preparing and invites you to join them on the roller coaster ride.
It starts really classical, it starts really relaxed, but as you progress into the second half, it starts to get a lot more exciting.
Dancer Shanice Roll has been dancing for just under a year. She started for the exercise, but stayed for the choreography. She says the show is sure to entertain you.
There's going to be something for everyone. You have your jazz, you have your pop, you have Afro beats and everything as well. So I think it's very diverse. And I really feel that you would have something for everybody. It's family friendly. Everyone would enjoy the show.
If you love dance or want a change of pace, be sure to check out the show happening Sunday night at UB's Performing Arts Center. Reporting for Our News, Weekend Arts and Entertainment, I'm Gene Joseph.
Thanks for that, Gene. Just before we go, a programming note. Stay tuned as immediately after this newscast, Bahama Rock, an Independence Jubilee all-Bahamian concert starts on the Western Esplanade, and you can watch it right here on RTV. And with that said, thank you for joining us for Our News Tonight. On behalf of our producer and the entire technical team, I'm Berthany McDermott. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.